Welcome guys to Warriors or Toxic Reapers Prot Warrior Tanking Guide. This is going to be the end-all tanking guide. For Prot Warriors, it's going to be for from the start to if you have no clue what you're doing about a Prot Warrior to a little bit more end-game kind of tanking mechanics. So I hope you guys enjoy this guide. If you guys do like this guide, please feel free to like it up as well as subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of stuff like this. But anyways guys, let's get into it. Let's go. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to go over the warrior talent tree for Prot. So let's get to it. So we're going to get 3 out of 3 in toughness. We're going to get 2 out of 2 in blood thunder. We're going to get 3 out of 3 in shield mastery, 2 out of 2 in hold the line, 3 out of 3 in shield specialization. Going to get 1 in concussive, last stand, bastion of defense, warbringer, devastate, improve revenge, vigilance. We're going to get 2 out of 2 in heavy repercussions, just for the little bit of a damage increase. Thunderstruck, for AoE capabilities, we're going to get sword and board, put 1 in safeguard, and then shockwave. Now we're going to go over to Fury. We're going to put 3 out of 3 in blood craze, just for a little bit of extra health regen, helping out the healers a little bit. We're going to get 3 out of 3 in War Academy, 2 out of 2 in field dressing, and then we're going to put our last 2 points. This is where you can vary a little bit more. You can put them into deep wounds. You could put 1 more into safeguard and then 1 into insight. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 of my points into insight, just for a little bit of extra DPS increase. Now I would suggest getting 2 out of 2 in safeguard, because safeguard is a quite a good ability. It does really help out probably your off tank whenever you're taking a lot of damage. It really does help out your off tank to have a 30% damage decrease. So if anything, I would suggest getting that. But this is my spec. I put the points that are in now, and then I put 2 out of 2 or 2 out of 3 in insight. Everything else is pretty basic. You could choose to not get blood craze because you don't get that much healing from it. But I think having a little bit extra healing from it does help a lot. So as you guys can see, this is the spec that I use. I have 2 out of 2 in Thunderstruck and 2 out of 2 in Blood and Thunder, just for the AoE capabilities. If you're looking for more single target spec, you don't need to get these. But I do generally suggest getting them, for they are quite good, just for random AoE stuff. I don't really bother with another Prot spec due to the fact that this spec really just kind of works for all around. It has good single target DPS and AoE capabilities. So let's move on to the glyphs. Glyphs are kind of a given, if you will. Glyph of Revenge, increase revenge damage. Glyph of Shield Slam, increase the damage of Shield Slam by 10%. And Glyph of Devastate, increase the critical strike chance of Devastate by 5%. Now, that's the prime glyphs, so we're going to go on to the majors. You're going to increase the number of targets your cleave hits by 1. Glyph of Shockwave, reduces the cooldown on Shockwave by 3 seconds. And Glyph of Thunderclap, increase the radius of your Thunderclap ability by 2 yards. Now this is another place where you can have a different glyph. Now if you look right here, Glyph of Sunder Armor. When you use Sunder Armor or Devastate, a second nearby target also receives Sunder Armor. Now if you want to use this glyph, you can replace Glyph of Thunderclap. But I find that Glyph of Thunderclap really does help, due to the fact on Heroic Yorsage, where there are a lot of adds, and it's nice to have that little bit of extra range. Especially for fights like Spine as well. It is a requirement, or not a requirement, but it really does help out for if you're kiting blitz. Now, minors really kind of don't matter. You can use whatever minor you wish, but at the moment I'm using Glyph of Berserker Rage for if I need a little bit extra rage, Glyph of Battle, and Glyph of Enduring Victory. Now, like I said, minors aren't that really big of a deal, but if you would like to use different minors, feel free. Nothing really changes that, considering you don't use Sunder Armor, so that really wouldn't help. So like I said before, feel free to use any minors that you wish. Alright guys, we're going to move on to the next part of the guide. Alright guys, this is going to be the stat priority part before CTC cap, so let's go over them. Your number 1 stat priority before CTC cap is Mastery. You want to stack that Mastery to make sure that you're getting up to that CTC cap. That's going to be your number 1 priority. Your number 2 is going to be parry. The reason that we're getting parry is for hold the line, more chances to critical block. Your number 3 is going to be dodge, and your number 4 is going to be stamina. Now the reason that we're taking so long to get to stamina is due to the fact that this is the before CTC guide part. So this is for the people that are not CTC capped yet. Now if you don't know what CTC cap is, CTC means combat table coverage. What this is basically is if you are CTC capped, you will have a 0% chance that you will not take damage that is mitigated. So every attack that you take is going to be mitigated no matter what. Whether if it's spell, that's different, but a physical damage attack is always going to be mitigated, whether through parry, dodge, or block. Now the way that you get to that 102.4% is you're going to add your block, you're going to add your parry, you're going to add your dodge, and then you're going to add another 5% for a chance to be missed. Now you take all those numbers, you add them up, and if they equal to 102.4%, then you are CTC capped, and then you will follow the next part of the guide. If you're not CTC capped, make sure you're stacking that mastery to make sure that you get up to that CTC cap. That is going to be your number 1 priority, getting to that CTC cap. Alright guys, we're going to move on to the next part of the guide after CTC cap. Alright guys, this is going to be the second part, your stat priority after CTC cap. Now, this is for, once again, once you are at that 102.4%, chance. Once you're there, this is going to be the guide that you will follow, this section of the guide, because the two different stats are different between after and before CTC caps, so make sure that you guys realize that. So your number 1 stat priority is going to be stamina after CTC cap. The reason that we're stacking stamina is since we're above that CTC cap, we need to get as much health as we possibly can. Now, the rule of thumb is basically as long as you have above 230,000 health, then you can survive through most of the stuff. So that's kind of what you want to aim for. Your number 2 is going to be parry. Still, for hold the line, we still want to get parry and dodge as high up as possible due to the fact that it's 100% damage reduction. Your number 3 is going to be dodge. Only the reason dodge is below parry is due to the fact that parry gives you critical block, which means you get more out of parry than you do out of dodge. So you want to make sure that you're keeping these within 2% so that diminishing returns doesn't screw you over too hard. And then your number 4 is going to be mastery. Now the reason mastery is number 4 is because it is not required for you to get any higher than you already are. You're already at that CTC cap, and the only thing that mastery does is get that CTC cap up really, really fast. If you get a gear or a piece of gear that does have a lot of mastery on it, what it does, it will allow you to stack more stamina. The more mastery you have means you can take more mastery gems out of your gear and put more stamina gems in them. So don't think that mastery is a terrible thing once you're CTC capped. It will allow you to stack more stamina when you're above that CTC cap. So keep that in mind. Alright guys, we're going to move on to the next part of the guide. Alright guys, this is going to be the gemming and enchanting section of the guide. So I'm going to try to go over this as quickly as possible so that we don't waste too much time and this video isn't too long for you guys. Now this is after CTC cap, so keep in mind it's kind of a I'll go over both, but just keep in mind that I am CTC capped in raids, so just keep that in mind. So people that aren't CTC capped, you want 3 gems. 3 gems are going to be your main gems, and it's going to be these 3 right here. Now obviously these are epic gems, but still go for the same stats. In your red, you're going to get parry mastery. This is to get these gems are going to be maximizing your mastery so that you get as much mastery out of your gems as you possibly can while still getting socket bonuses. So your reds are going to be parry mastery, your yellows are going to be straight mastery, and your blues are going to be mastery stamina. Now, once I said before, this is going to be to get as much mastery out of your gems as possible. You could stack straight mastery, but I do choose to go for socket bonuses. Now, after CTC cap, there are a couple ways that you can gem. I chose to go for, you still gem your straight parry mastery, your straight mastery, and your mastery stam gems, but when you are CTC capped, I threw on a stamina trinket, made sure I was still CTC capped, and then after that, I started stacking stamina gems. As you can see, I do have a couple stamina gems in my gear. And since I am jewel crafter and blacksmithing, I do have the extra gem slots as well as the Chimera's Eyes. And all my Chimera's Eyes are going to mastery. So, as you can see guys, what I do suggest is once you're after CTC cap, to try to get a stamina trinket on while keeping CTC capped, and then after that, feel free to start stacking stamina. Now keep in mind, I am in a lot of heroic gear. I got about 4 or 5 pieces on, I believe. So keep that in mind, that I am getting a good amount of extra gear, or extra stamina and stuff out of my gear than most people would. Alright guys, so we're going to move on to the next part of the guide now. Alright guys, so we're in the next part of the guide now. So we're going to talk about enchanting real quick, and your enchants on your gear. So your head enchant is obviously a given. It's your 90 stam, 35 dodge. Shoulder enchant, also a given. Now on your back, you're going to get 250 armor. On your chest, you're going to get 75 mastery, or sorry, excuse me, stamina. On your bracers, you're going to get 50 dodge. On your gloves, you're going to get 65 mastery. Your belt is also obviously just going to be a belt buckle. Your pants, obviously your 145 stamina, 55 dodge rating pant enchant. Your boots is going to be 50 mastery. Now, obviously, your weapon, windwalk, and obviously your shield, 50 mastery. Now keep in mind, almost all of these enchants are kind of like the only ones you really would want to get. The only one that you would maybe change is your chest enchant, which is 20 stats, but to be honest, 75 stamina absolutely destroys that enchant. So that's the way I suggest to enchant your gear, guys. Alright, we're going to move on to the next part of the guide now. Alright guys, now we're going to go over our reforging. So keep in mind that with our reforging, what we want to try to maximize is we want to make sure that our dodge and our parry are within 2% of each other. Now, you want to make sure that your parry is above your dodge due to the fact that hold the line doesn't give you a more chance to critical block. Now, the reason that we want to keep it within 2% is due to DR, diminishing returns. If you parry a lot, then what diminishing returns is going to do is it's going to make it so you have a less chance to parry. So we want to keep our dodge and our parry within 2% so one doesn't completely override the other. Now I'm going to go over my gear real quick just to give you guys a general kind of look at how I reforge. So if there is just like so for this helm, it would just be parry mastery. Now since I want to keep my two within each other, I reforge out of parry into dodge, so that my parry and my dodge are once again staying with each other. Now, in this case, it's a mastery dodge item. Now, the reason I didn't reforge my dodge is because I want to keep my dodge up with my parry. Now, if I had reforged out of dodge and put that dodge into parry, then obviously my parry would start pulling ahead of my dodge. Now, dodge and parry, as you can see, I'm not reforging into mastery due to the fact that I'm already CTC capped. And parry and mastery give me more than mastery would. Or sorry, dodge and parry would give me more than mastery would. So I'm keeping that the way it is. As well as you can see, I get more dodge than I do parry, so no reason to touch it. Now here, parry, expertise, I reforged the expertise into mastery. You want to always reforge your secondary stats out of whatever they are. Usually you would reforge them into mastery, but if you need dodge or parry, then feel free to do that. On my chest, I reforged nothing due to the fact that once again I needed the dodge. Mastery, wanted to CTC cap, I need the mastery for CTC. If I was above CTC cap, I would reforge that mastery into parry. Mastery dodge, reforged the dodge into parry. Hit mastery, I reforged the hit into dodge. Parry mastery, reforged the parry into dodge. Didn't reforge my pants due to the fact that I didn't need the mastery. Mastery parry, I reforged the parry into dodge again. Mastery parry, I didn't need to reforge this. Parry dodge, I reforged the parry into mastery due to the fact that I needed to get that CTC cap at the time. And obviously, my two trinkets. Now I reforged from a secondary stat, once again that hit into mastery. and didn't reforge my shield because I needed that dodge and the mastery. And obviously there's nothing to reforge on Soul Drinker. So as you guys can see, it's just a well-balanced mix, trying to make sure that your dodge and your parry are within 2% of each other, as well as still having enough block to CTC cap. Alright guys, we're going to move on to the next part of the guide now. Alright guys, this is going to be the last part of the guide. This is going to be your rotations part of the guide, what cooldowns you want to keep on cooldown and what not. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out here. I'm just going to auto attack, get enough rage. Now the one ability that you do want to try to keep on cooldown is usually shield block. Now the reason that you want to try to keep this on cooldown is just it's a good habit to get in just in case you forget it or something like that. But in a more sticky situations, you usually want to kind of try to save it for when you're getting those big hits, so that it is a guaranteed that you will always block or have a better chance at critical blocking. So I'm going to kind of go over how I tank. You want to make sure you're keeping Shield Slam on cooldown at all times. And in between that time, usually you would be using Revenge due to the fact that obviously, you know, I would actually be getting hit. But what I also try to do is usually I will keep Heroic Strike on cooldown as well, while spamming Devastate. So usually you always kind of want to be spamming Heroic Strike. It's usually a good rage jump, and it also really helps with threat. Now another thing that you want to try to keep on cooldown is your Inner Rage. Now what Inner Rage does is obviously it causes the cooldown on Heroic Strike to be a lot less. Now the only time you really kind of want to use this is when you are taking a good amount of damage. Usually whenever you're tanking a boss, you'll be able to easily spam Heroic Strike, no problem. It shouldn't really be an issue. But, like I said before, the main things you want to keep on cooldown, Shield Slam, Revenge, and usually Heroic Strike, due to the fact that it is a decent amount of rage that you'll be getting, just in general. Now, another thing that you want to try to keep up is going to be, obviously, Rend. Now, the reason that you want to keep Rend up, just it helps you do a little bit more damage, obviously helping kill the boss a little bit quicker. But also, just in case you ever want to spread Rend, like I just did right there, as you can see, the thing behind me has Rend now. You want to keep that up just so that, you know, whenever you need to spread Rend to AoE, that it's up. Another thing that you're going to want to keep up is Demoralizing Shout. Now, this will depend from raid to raid. In my raids, I usually don't need to Thunderclap or Demoralizing Shout due to the fact that we do have a Frost DK, or to slow, to do his slow, and we also have a Prot Paladin, which his judgments already do my Demo Shout. So there's no reason for me to do Demo Shout or Thunderclap in my raids. Now this might be different for you, so make sure that you know if you need to keep them up or you don't, because if you do not have Demoralizing Shout up, that's a big damage increase that the boss is getting. So you want to make sure that that is up at all times, whether it's from another class or it's from you. Same with Thunderclap, make sure that it's always up at all times. So remember guys, keep Shield Wall, or excuse me, not Shield Wall, Shield Slam on cooldown, keep Revenge on cooldown, and try to get Heroic Strike in as many times as you can. Make sure you're keeping Thunderclap up if need be, as well as Demoralizing Shout if need be. Make sure you're also watching your Shield Block cooldown. If there is a big part of the fight that requires you to take a lot of damage, make sure you're trying to save it for that. If not, just go ahead and keep using it to push the damage out over a instead of taking a huge amount of damage in a little bit of time. But rather than that, guys, that's going to be the whole guide for Prot Warriors. So I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Please feel free to tell me what you guys thought of the guide. I did spend a lot of time into making this guide, so please, if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you guys think. I will try to be making more guides. I will be doing more Yorsage stuff and other stuff like that, as well as now that Mists of Pandaria Beta is out, I will be doing lots and lots and lots of videos on that. So keep in tune for that as well, guys. Anyways, guys, I just want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed my Warrior Prot guide. If there's any suggestions that you guys would have, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys all have an awesome day. I'll see you guys around. Peace out.